hey everybody.
I tried not to, and I was expecting it to. I was like, this is going to be loud. And then it hit right when I thought.
Holy shit.
It was so little, too. I barely even moved. Fuck.
Oh, fuck. Take two. Oh, fuck. And welcome to another episode of Brotherhood Without Manners, your favorite full spoiler reread podcast of George R.R. Martin's A Song of Ice and Fire series. As always, I am your host, Zach, and my brother Nate here is also a host. I don't know why I asked that question. That's not a question. That's just a fact.
We're like hundreds of episodes in. I sure hope that...
I'm a little off-put because my first attempt at the intro didn't go so smoothly because I startled Nate a bit. He's just a little baby bird, and you can't talk loud around him or he's going to get startled.
The headset was a little louder than expected.
We are a full spoiler if you didn't catch that because the intro just goes so smooth.
Snape kills Dumbledore.
Oh, shit. We don't spoil that series, dude.
It's been a long time, but we spoiled it a long time ago.
We have. But we will mainly, for the most part, usually be talking about A Song of Ice and Fire, the series written by Mr. Martin. And so we'll cover anything and everything in regards to that. This is a reread. We have experienced this journey before. So if you haven't, you might want to experience it and then come back.
Or don't. We don't care.
Yeah, right.
This episode, we're reading Bran 4, Brandon.
Mr. Stark is one of, I think, the most interesting storylines in the book series. One of the more magical ones, obviously, just inherently with the three-eyed crow and the idea of sort of giving up one sense, his legs, his ability to walk, in order to access magic.
To fly.
Right. Or open your third eye. There's, Odin symmetry in there of giving up an eye for, the ability to use magic, gain power, see more than you should. And so Bran has been fleeing Winterfell after Theon decided to be a little bitch. And Sackett, he, of course, got his fucking face slapped down into the mud by one bastard of Bolton, Ramsay Snow. Gross. And Winterfell was put to the torch, but Bran, Hodor, Meera, Jojen, Asha, and Rickon, and the Wolvies, of course.
Bounce. They got the fuck out that bitch.
I said Hodor, right?
I think so,
okay.
But I wasn't listening to you.
Well, Hodor, in case I didn't name him, I'll name him twice. I don't give a fuck. And, right, they began heading north to see the Three-Eyed Crow, stopping, of course, once to let Asha and Rickon go off their separate ways, as Rickon's just a little baby. This is too dangerous for him. He needs protection and
it's only going to get worse north of the wall.
And a Stark. There needs to be a Stark in the north still, and so he'll be protected with that name. So Asha promises to take him, to the Umbers, to someone who can help. And Bran, Meera, Jojen, Hodor, and Summer push on, stopping eventually at Queen's Crown.
Sure. And
encountering Jon Snow with the wildlings and their encounter with the old man that Jon is ordered to kill, in which Bran actually saves Jon, sort of.
And Jon doesn't actually encounter Bran.
Right.
And, the whole
Bran wargs Hodor to hush his Hodoring, and it's an intrusive, disturbing moment, and the gang has slowly been pushing their way north and north and north.
Right. So if you're following our episodes chronologically in order, the way they, I guess, are intended to be, but you listen to them however you want, I don't care, then you would know that we just finished Jon's stuff and the attack at Castle Black, and coupled with the I forgot where I was going with this. We do know where Jon is after interactions that they just had.
Our last episode was Jon, and that, of course, was the Battle of Castle Black, where the wildlings attacked from the rear, and were the watch was forced to destroy the bottom third of the staircase to the wall to protect themselves. It was a costly battle because they don't have much to begin with, but for the most part, the wildlings were sort of driven back, and so.
Right. And it's fun to come off of that into this Bran chapter because we're gonna have Sam popping up at the end.
This fucking Bran chapter, though, is one of, I think, the best in the series. Martin really gets to flex his horror muscles and his sort of existential dread. The use of storytelling to incite fear and paranoia. This chapter. So I don't know if we've ever discussed, but Nate and I are from New England, the northeast of the continental United States of America. Yay. This chapter reminds me so goddamn much of home, of
the trees,
the fall,
the homes,
mostly in New England. It just has that old vibe. There is history here. There's so much goddamn history that Bran can't help but expound on it.
The history is heavy in the air.
Nearly every other sentence, and so yes.
Yeah, you can feel the weight of the history as you're walking through these places with these guys.
Because, of course, they have arrived at the Nightfort, the spookiest, scariest, hauntiest place in the fucking, I guess, north.
Westeros.
Jesus. But Bran even thinks that this is the end of the world. Foreboding. Bran, of course,
which is also, been stated by everybody.
Well, Melisandre's called it a hinge, but yes, the
also,
wall itself is
Tyrion pissed off
the edge of the world. Yeah.
So it's been said before.
It's
way creepier now.
Right, it's ominous
it's way
here.
creepier now.
Yep. And so Bran is filled with absolute fear, and he thinks of his dream that he just recently had, of Summer's dream more particularly. The dream he hadn't told the Reeds about, because if he didn't speak of it, then maybe Robb and everyone would ...
Right, which means he knows. He's aware of that, and he knows
he saw the Red Wedding, man.
The Red Wedding is
occurred. So this particular passage says Summer's dream, which means that because Summer is connected to Grey Wolf,
right.
Summer was in tune with it. And Bran, in his dream, was tied into that,
right.
which is just...
But then add in that other end as well. Grey Wind is connected similarly, I like to think, because of how
the magic
tight
works.
They are. Robb and Grey Wind have
right,
a
1,000%.
very tight
connection.
Yeah,
100%.
And so I think he did connect. That's how he is.
Well, that's
so
what I'm saying is we get
this is
a very interesting peek here
yes,
into how this dynamic
this.
works. Of like, I think Summer and Grey Wind were kind of sharing consciousness and body,
yes,
and like
sure.
Summer was there for the Red Wedding. Summer saw Grey Wind get fucking beheaded.
Right.
He saw how it happened, and then Bran was just happened to be asleep and kind of open to those images, and so his dream took on Summer's working ...
Right, because I definitely have. There's an argument to be had that he's having a green dream, but all the green dreams seem to be future stuff. And as far as we can tell, this is happening. This just happened for them as well.
Right.
So it's not a far in the future thing. And so it leads me to believe that, yes, we're seeing this through Summer's shared
connection
vision
to Grey
Wind,
Wind, 100%.
which is that like these. Almost think Voldemort and Harry when one of them is experiencing severe emotional trauma, turmoil, jubilance, whatever it is. It forces its way into the other one, and Summer was
even earlier with Bran. Summer when we're in Summer at one point, we get a reference to the White One who's kind of gone missing,
right?
Because Ghost was north of the Wall,
right, exactly.
And so he was separated. But this
we've seen they have shared connections,
and this leads to I think this is how Arya dreams and continues to dream of Nymeria. This connection is very strong, and especially when they're in peril, when they're in danger, when something's happening, the Starks have this fucking relay network through these wolves that they can kind of ping information between. And I think pinch me, but I think that might be vital come endgame.
The way that Martin started this very heavily magical, because it begins and ends with heavy magic, in my opinion.
Huge magic.
He's showing that the Starks here in this particular paragraph are heavily influenced by some kind of magic in some way.
Bran
whether that's
Stark
just
is one of the
warging.
most isolated people in the world right now by design. The Reeds are trying to keep it that way. Bran Stark is dead to the world. Yet he knows information he has absolutely no way of knowing, and his dream dreams, as you said, have kind of led more to leading him to Bloodraven. That's what the dreams are doing. They're showing him that way. There is no reason, especially Bloodraven, who's been telling Bran since his first encounter with him, no, don't focus on your trauma.
Your life.
Put that away.
Look north.
That you need to come here. He's not showing him Robb and Cat dying. No way, no how. This is summer, and so it's that huge magic here at the front. And I really think this sort of relay with the wolves is important. The Starks can get information very quickly across the continent.
Right.
And, huge. So...
Yeah, he thinks that he needs to be brave like Robb, but then changes and starts thinking of old Nan's story.
Well, because Jojen's like, there's nothing to fear here, Bran. It's just an old castle. And Bran's like, if you heard what I've heard,
right.
you wouldn't be thinking that. And
so I just kind of did a bullet point list to start.
Right, because
we do go into detail on
we go
most
into
of them.
each story.
And so he mentions the Night King reigned before his the Stark was... or his name was wiped from history because they came up and stopped him. The Rat Cook fed his prince the bacon pie, king of the Andals. The 79 Sentinels stood their watch. Let me see. Brave Danny Flint was raped and I can't read most of my handwriting here.
Murder, King Sherritt's curse, and the thing that came in the night.
The Apprentice Boys, yep. And then there's also Blind Simeon Star. I saw the Hellhounds.
And Maddox, who butchered his brothers in the night.
Yes.
So, again, that's just a quick rundown. Bran will kind of extrapolate as we go through this chapter, and we will as well, because these are all very interesting, very important, I believe.
Lewin always warned Bran that you need to take old Nan's stories with a grain of salt.
1,000%. Right.
You can't take it all as straight fact.
I mean, there's so many things to that. Don't listen to women, one being one in a patriarchal society, but also the little bit of doubt that there needs to be about the truth of the world, which is always interesting. As we know, Robert's Rebellion is a fucking lie. And so it's just, again, history is told by those who survive it and those who wish it to be formed into a certain narrative. And so who knows? Maybe old Nan's story, absolutely every single one, is completely right, down to every single line.
Right.
But because she's that crazy woods witchy soothsayer, and she's not. She's more of a healer. Like she's this grandmotherly, sagely, if you want to say crone-like individual who's giving these stories that bear significant weight in this world.
Right.
So
he
Bran,
asked Benjen about it.
Right, because it's a horrid place that they're at right now. They're kids, so Bran is it's the haunted house. It's the spooky story of the Watch, and the Watch is a pretty spooky organization. This is the scary place of that organization. And Jojen had a green dream, and that this is the place that would let them get through the wall, which I'm very curious what that dream was. What did he see here?
Yeah, because Bran is certain that there's no way through the wall.
He wanted to go with Jon. He thought they'd have a better chance.
Castle Black, which, as we know, was a good thing he wasn't there, because they would have been at that battle.
And they literally sealed the way through. They had to seal the gates and all that stuff. Yeah, right. So we get the kind of flashback to Queen's Crown when Bran intervened on Jon's behalf and he ran away, and sort of the longing that Bran has. Bran wants to. He's not following Jon because he thinks there's a way through. He's following Jon because he wants to be with his family.
Right.
And,
he wants to be with his brother.
And that it will slow them down, and the Reeds know that Jon's not going to let you go forth, little bud. He's going to want to protect you too.
Right.
So Bran and the Reeds.
He also, right before that flashback, had mentioned how he was hearing all the rats crawling through, thought he was really freaking himself out. And I like that there's a bunch of little lines like that.
Right,
that
the
Martin
leaves,
throws
because he shows the leaves kind of scuttling across the
he
courtyard.
Just keeps building this tension.
Yeah, the Nightfort's a creepy place, man.
Fun.
It's so ominous. I love the way he describes the sky as a bruise. Things even the descriptions of the sky are violent and just unsettling colors, which I love. But Bran and the Reeds are discussing what to do, and Meera volunteers to go up to the wall and see if she can see anything, at least. Bran is absolutely jealous of this because it should be him.
Yeah.
Meera's a great climber. She does everything right, but he doesn't have his legs, and he loves to climb, and so, of course, he's going to be envious.
Yeah, I like that because we get the description of the ice stairs that are built in but still treacherous as fuck.
So worn down.
And it's...
From melting back into the wall.
In Castle Black's fight, the ones that just got blown out of the wall because of the explosion, and that they literally knocked those the fuck down, and that it shows that the wall's going to kind of absorb them back over time eventually anyway.
Well, that I like that the wall here kind of becomes like a representation almost of forests and like weirwood trees, I think, like where eventually the forest consumes what is kind of left and not encroaching. And we know that's kind of been happening on the wall itself with the haunted forest. That's how Jon and the wildlings managed to kind of get the leg up in their journey as they climb the trees, like. And so the fact that this is also happening on the south side, the fucking stairs have
I fucking love climbing trees.
melted back into... I haven't climbed a tree in so long.
You suck.
I need to climb trees.
I climbed trees with the boys at the park.
It's like illegal most places, or like you're going to get weird looks, so I'm always sketched out about it. But
yeah, that's
I
unfortunate.
need to climb more trees.
We should encourage climbing trees more often.
But Meera like, is fine. She's handling the climb, so Jojen, Bran, Hodor, and Summer go on to explore.
Hell yeah.
And
Ghost
like,
Hunters.
I love this part
Nightfort
because
edition.
like Jojen's like, hey, look, spooky cellar, spooky alley. Should we go there? And Bran's like, no.
Have you not seen any horror movie ever, Jojen?
And so, well, like that's when I had the realization of like, Jojen knows he's got plot armor, bro. Like he knows he's gonna die. Like getting Bran. So like it's that like we ain't dying down this alley, so let's see the scary fucking thing that's out here. And Bran's like, no, please. I'm like 10. I'm still impressionable. But Jojen's like, don't worry, Bran. Like I don't die here, so we're good. But Jojen mentions that this seems an old place, and we get the download from Bran. The first castle on the wall and the largest, abandoned in Jaehaerys and Alysanne's time, when Alysanne, basically noting the state of it and that it was much too big to man, recommended Deep Lake, a beautiful location beside a lakeside.
We're going to put a resort over here.
A smaller castle, easier to maintain, which was also eventually abandoned, but the Nightfort was abandoned first. And so they're going around, and we get the beautiful descriptions of the decay of, this building barely is standing. We get the weirwood coming up next to the well, through the fucking ceiling of the kitchens, through the floor. It's just so good and spooky, and George is brilliant at setting that terrifying atmosphere.
Yeah. So we get the first story with the 79 Sentinels right there, because he starts talking to old ghosts and shit.
Right.
And so for that one, we learned that Lord Ryswell's youngest son went outlaw, basically, went rogue, said fuck this.
Yep.
When he and his band were caught, they were put in ice cells, which makes me think of the sky cells, just freeze one side over and made out of the
John's been put in those cells too.
Yeah. But then they freeze them closed in there.
Well, they drilled holes in the top of the wall for these cells.
Right.
And then had them go in vertically and then sealed the tops back up. And that's capsules fucking suck, man.
Yeah. And they had them facing north, so that way they could stand watch for the rest of eternity. They had their horns, they had their spears, they were all armored up, and that way in death, their watch could last forever. Horrifying, brutal, I love it. 10 out of 10, no notes. Like, what a fucking awesome ghost story. Yeah,
absolutely.
I mean, to me, what's funny is that doesn't sound like the kind of people that will be allowed to haunt.
Right, exactly.
They're stuck. Those ones you don't have to worry
trapped.
about.
There's literal magic in the wall.
The magic of the wall is keeping them standing
there. They're doing their fucking
eternity.
job. Yeah.
And so they don't have a choice.
These motherfuckers are probably still got beating hearts in there. And it's horrifying.
They are not walking the halls of the Nightfort.
Right.
I mean, great story.
Right.
I love the creepiness.
They add to the ambiance. But we can check this one off as not the paranormal activity that's occurring here. This one I think is similar to the Stark Lords with their swords of iron. This one is kind of almost unintentionally magically bound. You put them in the wall. They now into magic, and so the wall is you're going to stand guard, bitch. And so, Sentinels, creepy, adds to the ambiance. Love it. And it gives that feeling of
You know,
something always observing you.
That,
here.
or you want to really twist it, that's the first 79 White Walkers right there. Bam.
Right, I mean, that maybe...
But no, I firmly
you open them and they're all empty. There's not even bones.
Right.
But no, love it. But again, it adds more to the ambiance, the feeling of being watched here. And so they continue. Meera returns. She saw over the wall. She saw an eagle, and she waved because Meera's a cutie patootie. Nate and I had a debate over whether or not this is Orell. You believe it is.
I sure as shit do.
I do not.
Yeah, right.
And
Which
so
you gave a reason that I think pretty much debunked my...
Yeah, he's at Castle Black.
Right.
Like, they're about to siege the wall and all that shit, so Orell is not down here at the Nightfort. Listeners, if you have a reason that could convince me why Orell would be this far south, like, I get making sure...
I'm thinking that he was of the belief that there was more noise coming from the tower than... And so he didn't leave with them when he followed or eagled up. He followed that and has been trailing them since, potentially. Or he's fleeing from Castle Black because he saw that they lost and he just decided to fly along with the wall and happened to be there as Meera was up there.
Righto.
They set up camp in the kitchen near the well.
Yeah.
Good idea.
Yeah, she saw no way down on the north side, so it's that, all right. But Jojen's still adamant that there's a way through. So, yep, the sun is setting. The gloom begins to remind Bran of our second story, the Night's King.
The Night's King.
Who, of course, is the terrifying individual, one of the Lord Commanders of the Night's Watch, who apparently fell in love with a icy ghost woman. And mated with her, made him his, and they ruled the Night's Fort from the Night's Fort for a while, and eventually it took a Stark and a wildling banding together to root him out.
Right.
And when it was found out that he had been sacrificing children to the others,
For 13 years.
his entire record was struck. His name, all record of him, was struck from the histories. This one, I think, is absolutely affecting the Nightfort currently to this day. But we'll get to that later as to why. I don't think it's any of the noises or even the vibe. Maybe a little bit of the vibe. But when we get to the Black Gate itself, I'll expound on that.
So yeah, we also I just wanted to name drop Jorman of the Wildlings.
Right, of course, with his horn. We
yeah.
all love that horn of Jorman.
So
Bran hates the idea mainly that the Night King walked these halls. That's what kind of freaks him out, which I do like. It's almost the reverse celebrity status, and there are, people that have those kind of enjoyments with serial killers where it's that, like, going to the place. It's that, they've been here. So, like, I do like that kind of vibe that he gives Bran. But...
So Bran mentions that in the stories, it's rumored that he's basically from every different northern house. He's been an Umber, he's been a Bolton, but... his belief in Old Nan's is that it was a Stark, and that he was actually the brother of the Stark that partnered with Jordan
that had to
stop
kill him.
him.
Yep. And mayhaps he slept in this very room. Mayhaps his name was Brandon. And she'd pinch him like Old Nan is such a boss. We love her.
She's a terror.
She's a wonder.
She's a wonder and a terror.
So they decide to sleep in the kitchens, the one with the weirwood beside the well. This weirwood is noted pretty strangely as a strange, skinny, faceless weirwood, which, also describes a certain Stark that I know. Skinny, lanky, kind of weird.
Faceless?
Gonna be faceless here soon. And so, thoughts? Anything there? Arya end up at the Nightfort, potentially?
I think that this here, and, as we know, the show, I think this is kind of where they got their idea for the Walder Frey eating his sons in the show.
Sure.
Is all of this kind of tie here, which leads me to believe that Martin has plans for Arya to follow in the Rat Cook's footsteps.
Right, sure.
And
follow through on some of the punishments.
It could just be an homage, like the Faceless Men, or maybe the Faceless Men put this the Black Gate. It could. Who knows what it could be alluding to? I don't know if it's necessarily Arya. But if it is, I think it's just that kind of connecting her to the Faceless Men, if anything.
Sure. Bran really dislikes the well, And when Hodor is investigating and drops a piece of slate down, he tries to stop him, but too late.
Fool of a took.
And it takes quite a bit before not a splash, but a gulp is heard. And that language is just beautiful as it's through a child's lens. So, of course, like, there was a plop of it hitting a puddle at the bottom, or maybe some decent water.
Right, it could be even muddy, like, so it gulps it more.
Right.
But, like,
Bran is convinced there's a creature down there and that they just woke it the fuck up. But Jojen is like, all right, let's go ahead and get some sleep. They eat some fish. Bran thinks on guest right because
this is where we get the rat cook story, where guest right was broken, and we obviously know the red wedding occurred,
right?
And so that's
right. The rat cook, he broke guest right, and so he was served his children to eat, and then was turned into a rat and forced to consume his children, basically for all time.
Yeah, so this is either the biggest red herring in the history of literature, or Martin is absolutely it's a Chekhov's gun. Like, he's going to, who else broke guest right? Walder fucking Frey. He's gonna eat his kids.
Right, and that I could very well see that, like, his death coming with some rat imagery.
Absolutely. He may not just be eating
trims
Walder Frey
his whiskers, and or smashes out all his teeth, leaving just two front ones that kind of jut out like a rat's snout.
Or cuts his head off and mounts a fucking rat's head up on there like they did.
They did with Rob. Right, absolutely. But expect with Walder Frey's death to see some rat imagery, absolutely.
And potentially cannibalism.
The pie with yeah. Which I think is already fucking alluded to. Like, correct me if I'm wrong in Dance, but I don't know. So
I don't think so yet.
Bran hopes for no dreams or a good dream, but as he's kind of drifting out, he hears a noise and it realizes that it's
just the faucet dripping.
It's footsteps approaching from the well, and of course Bran thinks here of Mad Axe and the thing that came in the night.
So these stories kind of creep me out. Mad Axe really freaks me out.
These are the two worst in my opinion.
So Mad Axe was known for taking his boots off
to sneak quieter,
so that he could walk much quieter to slaughter his family in their sleep.
That's intent there.
So Amityville Horror,
right?
But Dad takes his boots off and doesn't shout as he's running down the hallway.
So what is this? Is this a Craster's mutiny on the reverse, where the Lord Commander is turning on his men because they've been swayed? Is this possession? Is the Night King jumping into Mad Axe and forcing him to Amityville, his brothers? What do you think this is? Is this just a man of the Night's Watch going nuts due to being trapped in a penal colony that sucks? And
to me it seemed just
a man breaking,
a crazy man, a crazed man, like, and that's just as horrifying as anything else. The magic of the fort, the curse of the fort at this point may be bearing down, and so sure, some influence from the Night King or the
I love this one because I love that Martin throws in the boots detail. It's just like all the best, like, kind of weird stories. Like, it
makes it thought out.
I listened to quite a few podcasts about, like, spooky stories or weird tales, usually like the more famous ones. And like all the best ones, like I'm thinking like of like Dyatlov Pass, these big stories, like they always have just a few details that just are like, that's odd. And the boots one here is like, is it just because he could move through the castle quieter, or was there a specific thing?
Right?
Like, was he doing it to be polite? Was he doing it like to not track blood? Because we hear of the the drip of the blood of the axe was the way they identified him.
Did a creature enter his body that couldn't stand the leather of the boots?
Exactly right. Like, did he split his boots because he was there's a million questions. I love Mad Axe. I love the vibe.
Because that to me came off as that guy Mad Axe was calculated enough to know and have the forethought, I need to take these off to maintain the silence.
That's not a madman then. That's premeditated,
that's
right? And so it's that. Like, what does the mad in Mad Axe intend? Like, did he lose his mind and break as a broken man and just, I'm gonna set us all free, similar to the Faceless Man, give the gift? Or was it, something spooky and supernatural?
Right. And then
the other one.
Yeah, then we get into
this one.
Into the thing that came in the night.
The thing that came in the night.
So the first thing I have written down here is that every one of the apprentices who saw it saw something different.
Right.
Nobody saw the same thing.
Okay.
That, first of all, is just a big ick. Second, they were dead within a year.
Right. Boop, boop. Dead. And then later, they were said to be seen following the apparition of it when it was sighted again in chains.
Right.
All right. So, of course, your boy did some digging.
Yeah.
There's not much on this at all. Like, as far as I could find, there's much speculation on the part of the fans because, fandom's going to fandom. But this doesn't come up again. There isn't a lot of coverage on it. This is horrifying, and I love it. And it's got so much symbolism in the others, in the, he kills them, he marks them for death, they die, and then become his soul, in on death, they serve him. Horrifying.
I had a little note here. It just says Hodor skin slit. Because at this moment, when he's having these thoughts about this and this horrifying thing, what it could be, he reaches for Summer, but Summer's too far, and so he slips into Hodor. And it just made me wonder is this not somebody breaking that
a skin changer? This is a fucking right.
They're slipping.
That's
why they don't see anything. They can't explain what it is because he can approach in a different shape every time.
Or it's right. This time it was Mad Axe. Last time it was
right.
That's the fucking horror here is people like Bran, like Varamir Sixskins, because this place has a magically resonant connection with the fucking atom of magic that is a black gate underneath this. Again, we'll get into it, baby birds. It's an organism, right? That's where the tree comes from. Arya was a red herring on me. The tree doesn't symbolize Arya. It's a growth of the fucking door, okay? We got that out of the way. The magic here is strong. I have no fucking doubt about it. So right, what if it's a fucking a warg like Bran? It's someone who is slipping.
A warg that is Bran. What if it's
caused
by
Bran
is the thing going to see what these things are?
I don't even want to discuss this.
And so he actually is the thing that comes in the night because he's looking in to see what's happening.
I love that. I hate this. If Bran's the fucking... It's like what was the one on Netflix that everyone loved? The Haunting of Hill House.
Yeah.
Spoilers for that, I guess. But like when she's the bent neck lady, if Bran is the fucking... like, he's got the Prentice Boys, no fucking way. Like, because I don't like that at all.
That'd be fun,
but I love it. It's such a dark story. What the fuck is going on here? Who knows? So I do believe that that's pretty much like the wrap on the stories.
That's it for those stories.
So there were a few other things that were mentioned in Bran's little layout. First, we'll start with Merritt's curse.
Merritt's curse.
King Merritt's curse. Who King Merritt is and his curse, not too much is known about, as far as I could find in my research. A curse being laid on the Nightfort is extremely fucking interesting to me in the terms of what it houses beneath it, as well as the...
I wrote King Sherritt.
Oh, is it Sherritt? Yes, it's King Sherritt. You're 100%.
I couldn't remember.
No, Merritt. I'm thinking of Merritt Frey. I had Frey on the brain.
Yeah.
You're absolutely right.
Yeah.
King Sherritt, excuse me. King Sherritt's curse, there's not much on, but a curse being on the Nightfort is huge, I think, because of... Again, what's beneath it, and the Harrenhal-like state of it, the misfortune that follows it.
And that we aren't given any timeline or order for these things that are mentioned. So it could be that this place was cursed, and then everything else that all these other scary stories occurred because of King Sherritt's curse.
Right, and that's what's interesting, is it seems to be an out-of-order timeline, these stories. And I think here, Sherritt is the beginning of all the things that come after it. Mad Axe, the thing that came in the night, the Night's King. I think all of these things,
or potentially like the Night's King is King Sherritt. Something
absolutely, absolutely.
So another one that was mentioned was Danny Flint.
Danny Flint's rape and murder.
So again,
Danny Flint.
I also want to mention that technically a lot of these could also just be the same story.
1,000%.
That aren't necessarily
1,000%.
So maybe the Mad Axe actually is the one who
Danny Flint's rape and murder could have occurred during Mad Axe's attack on the cat.
Or the thing that came in the night 100%. Could have also gotten brave Danny Flint.
Again, there's not much information about Danny Flint's rape and murder, only that they were betrayed by their brothers and raped and murdered. She was a woman at the wall. Yeah.
Unfortunate.
And there was
So the
Simeon
other one-
Starai and his hellhounds.
What I really like is that it was the phrase in the book said, blind Simeon Star Eyes saw the hellhounds fighting.
Right.
The blind man saw the hellhounds.
Right.
And, hellhound imagery, depending on the lore, everything changes a little bit. Hellhounds could be invisible, except to those who they're coming to collect.
Yeah.
They can be there for him. They could be there for no other reason. Did blind Simeon Star Eyes get power and prominence because he made a deal that caused him to be having to have his whole soul fetched by the hellhounds?
Right.
Are hellhounds a thing? Is blind Simeon Star Eyes just a great bard who told wonderful stories? So when he's dying, he's weaving the hellhounds are fighting right before he dies.
Right. Again, Simeon Starai, the naming for that, because he's blind and has star-eyed gems placed in his eyes. Odin imagery again, type of thing. So does he have a third eye to see something? Is he seeing beyond the veil? Who knows? Interesting as hell. Why the hell there's hellhounds fighting, right? As far as lore that I am familiar with, hellhounds are usually sent as retrieval things for hell, or packs that are made for souls, for deals. They're sent to collect. They're omens of death, and the time is nigh. And so very interesting, quick little jumble of the last couple stories that are thrown in there, which are just kind of given no exposition further in the story so far. And to me, that's sort of the thing to pay attention to. Like, yes, the Night's King kind of, on the nose. Like, we learned about some of that with Craster, of these sacrificing to these gods, these others. Mad Axe, again, it could be some broken man thing of just a Night's Watchman who just fucking was done. Like, I don't want to do this. They don't want to do this. This place is horrible.
And again, similarly, the Mad Axe could have been the Night King and the, King Sherrod. And
George left himself quite the fucking garden here at the Nightfort, let me tell you. And, I hope some, if not quite a few of them, get kind of referenced again and maybe solved at some point.
Right.
Or come up just in the is this what that story meant? Is this what it was talking about? But I'm kind of now shook about Bran being the thing that came in today. But
yes. So finally,
so there's footsteps from the well, something scary. We're gonna die.
Yeah, Meera's woken up. They're getting ready.
Sorry. No, I actually will apologize to Nate this one time for this, but we can't exclude it. In thinking of all these things, that these all go through Bran's head. He's like, fuck, Mad Axe, the thing that came in the night. They're coming to kill us. Lewin said of such things, if they ever existed, they're gone now. Just like giants and dragons.
Yes.
Fuck. Martin is
both have now
brilliant.
been confirmed.
Right, we know. Bran has a semblance of an idea that there are powers of old that be. He ain't dumb. He's been shown quite a bit of, things that shouldn't exist are existing. The dire wolves haven't been seen south of the wall. Things that haven't happened in a long time are happening. But
John
Martin, this is Martin being maybe these things did occur. Maybe, history is kind of more important. The stories that are being told. Yeah, I'm tapping my nose. We're an audio show.
He's tapping crazily all over his face. George is
look at here. I mean, to reference something I used to say back in the early days, he's slapping us in the face with his dick saying, these stories fucking matter. Something happened here that either is being talked about in various stories.
Right.
Oh, imagine that. It's like The Long Night that's also referenced through various, or Azor Ahai, who has a million fucking different names in other cultures, but the same fucking thing occurring. It's this history repeating in a cycle. Sorry, I got excited.
Sam's here.
Yeah, Bran wakes Meera, and then cause he's in love, he's like, damn, I've never seen someone wake up so quiet as her.
So quiet.
And that, she wakes up and goes pretty alert because Bran is covering her lips and doing the shh, and she immediately gets it, grabs her weapon, her net, and they start It's tense. Sam rises up. He's just a scary shadow coming out of the well, and then he gets poked once, and he starts whining. And it's Sam, everybody. Sam's made it.
Right.
And so, yeah, he tries to slip into Hodor's skin during this.
I will also
because he doesn't want to leave Meera alone.
It's creepy as fuck because there is a baby crying.
Right, the wailing from the yeah.
The footsteps. We jumped through it. It was creepy as fuck.
It's a great scene. Yeah. No, it's a horrifying, it's a great culmination of all this paranoia Bran has built up for himself. Right. Jojen's being the person in the horror movie who's like, there's nothing. Like, it's fine. It's old ghost stories. And then here's Bran's literal fears confirmed, where he's like, fuck, those soft little tippy taps I'm hearing coming up the well are Maddox with his boots off. They're the thing that came in the night with the Prentice boys wailing behind him like a baby. And so there's precedence, and then, the stories converge, and it's Sam, but...
Yeah. So we get intros, and we're told...
He can't slip Hodor's skin, because it's much harder than Summer's, and he does the whole boot analogy. It's like trying to get the wrong boot on the wrong foot, and Bran's fear of the thing rising in the well expels him out. And so there's a much harder quality to, which is just interesting with what you just said about, that which came in the night. Like, it's a powerful entity if it's slipping its skin that many times to and we just get the absolute kind of show of fear is kind of the enemy of warging.
Right.
If you're afraid going in, then you don't have the
work. Yep.
But it's Summer, Gilly, and Lil Sam. So they're like, oh yeah, Cold Hands told us there'd be people here. We just didn't expect you to be at the top of the fucking well.
Right.
And they're like, who's Cold Hands? How did you get through the wall? What is going on? And Sam's like, yeah, there's a fucking gate down there. It's as old as the wall itself. Mark that down. The Black Gate, Cold Hands called it. So Cold Hands called it. We don't know if that's its official name, but Cold Hands is naming it the Black Gate.
The Black Gate.
I'll allow it for now, Cold Hands. Check that privilege, though. So... only a brother of the Night's Watch can open this gate. Again, this is information coming from Sam, probably through Cold Hands. So, right now, it's a gate that is intrinsically tied to the Watch.
I do want to add in that from this point so far, up to this point so far, rather, Sam has been one of the very few reliably factual
1,000%
characters.
1,000%.
As far as he's aware.
Right.
And we are kind of led to believe that when he's speaking, it's true because he will research.
That's why I love
find
this.
The facts. And so
he hasn't yet.
Right, he hasn't had the opportunity.
Yet. He is presenting what he's been presented as fact,
right.
and so
this is based off of what he's been seeing.
Right,
and we know
but I love it because that was a point I was going to make here in a minute. Is that Martin is using Sam as this device to present this as fact to us because we know Sam's internal. That's why it's a POV telling us this because we've been in Sam's head. We know how he operates, and so Sam literally just killed a White Walker, something that hasn't been done in forever. Right. He's been at Craster's. He was at the Fist. He's seen the horrors that now exist beyond the wall. He is awoken, so to speak, just like Bran is. He's aware of the powers that be are manipulating
He knows
things.
that giants and dragons exist without
Cold
knowing
Hands just came and saved him with a bunch of fucking ravens and crows to defend against the White Walkers. And so, this is presented as fact. So, Cold Hands wasn't able to come through due to the spells.
He's not allowed to pass below
that
the wall.
Are written into the wall. So, Cold Hands cannot pass this barrier. The assumption then branches out that neither can the White Walkers, and that is the reason that the wall needs to fall before their army of the dead can come south.
So part of me here, episode 1, I made a very, very bold statement that Garrett is Cold Hands. I think the Night's King is Cold Hands.
Sure.
That this is his way of Atoning is by working with the three-eyed raven and protecting all the wall.
Whatever he is, I believe he is an allusion to Jon Snow's end. I think Cold Hands is what Jon will be.
Sure.
That's the sacrifice Jon's gonna have to make to set things right. To the new pact Jon is going to have to be the ranger who ranges for both sides.
Because I could see him being the very first White Walker type
I'm glad
deal.
you went there. Cold Hand feels like an atonement sentence.
At this point,
and so I agree 100%.
Because I do almost feel like he was potentially if we say that the Isle of Faces story, that the Children of the Forest created this as a weapon, like if we go down that path,
right?
If he was the first one, he's the only one that actually retained his consciousness and self-awareness, whereas all the other ones are the mindless kill everything.
Tell him that later, I believe in the next chapter, I am your monster, Bran Stark. And so him being the Night King, this story that scared Bran, that,
Right.
Yeah, sure. It's that full circle kind of symmetry. But yeah, so Cold Hands is completely unable to pass through. He is bound by whatever magic is written into the wall. And Jojen, of course, is like, oh wait, Jojen wants to know where the gate is. But Sam pieces together who Bran is. He's, looking at his legs, he's looking at Hodor, and he's like, yeah, you're little Bran Stark. And then immediately everyone's like, shh, and he's like, yeah, no, cool, I'm good with Jon. I'm good with Jon, like, we're bros, so.
I killed a White Walker.
Pretty much, yeah. And Bran's like, yeah, we just saw Jon. He was with a bunch of wildlings and everything. And so Summer then joins them, gives Sam a lick, and he's like, oh, yeah, no, like, I know Ghost. And Summer licks him, and Bran's like,
this guy's cool.
Yeah, he's cool.
He's cool. My dog likes him.
Yep, he passed the test, which 100%. And so then they go through the, you have to bring us through the gate. And Sam's like, yeah, kind of expected to.
Makes sense, Cold Hands
King
said.
Gilly, chill and enjoy your fire. And they're like, yeah,
no.
we don't fucking need it, dumbass. We're going down there. And they don't say that. They're all very nice for being as young as they are and, carrying the burden that all of them are. This is fucking insane shit.
Some of my favorite characters all
100%. And, Sam and Gilly, are coming from a nightmare. They are fleeing a fucking literal nightmare. And then kind of passing it on to a younger generation, weirdly.
Right.
And so it's this beautiful scene, but they begin to descend down the well. And of course, you're going down.
This is where it gets weird now.
Well, you're going into the, descending into the well is huge symbolism. It's, you're descending into the maw. This is the threshold.
Right.
This is the fucking, what's the Alice in Wonderland one? The rabbit hole. You're going down. It gets weird now. And, it gets weird immediately.
Yeah.
Because, yes, they go down. It's dark as hell. They can't see anything. Pitch black in front of them. They're having to keep their hand, on the wall. And Sam's like, yeah, don't worry. And then they come to the gate. And
before we dive into this, I just want to say, a dragon hatching from an egg, that's just an animal being born. Sure, if the egg was stoned before.
NBD.
But, it's a dragon egg.
It's a creature.
Right? Okay?
Right.
That's the extent of magic so far in this fucking book. For
Melisandre's babies.
Melisandre's smoke babies are just demon horror. That's not magic.
It's magic.
It's scary magic. You're right. But this is Stark-wise, because that's been pure, I guess Cat saw the fucking smoke monster.
And Dany's birthing of the dragon.
This is just,
there's magic.
There's a couple times, but
this magic is something else.
Fuck.
So the door is glowing. That's how they're able to see it. It's soft. It doesn't penetrate much of the gloom, but the door itself is giving off a slight moonlight pale glow, first and foremost. And of course, it's a white weirwood door with a face. The face looks dead. It is so old and weathered and wrinkled.
Like Bloodraven.
But then it opens its eyes.
It does what now?
Are white and blind. And it asks, who are you? And Sam says his vows. The lips then open and open and open and fold back to form a portal through which Bran and company rush through. So this fucking door, man.
Did a tear fall?
Right. I guess, yeah, we'll finish that. We'll go into that
just
as well.
It,
as Bran passes through, obviously he is the highest. He's up on Hodor's back in his basket. And his head just barely brushes a lip, and a drop of water falls on him, which the last the sentence of the chapter is warm and salty as a tear. So, Bran and company are through the wall, and they're on their way. But what the fuck is this ending of this chapter? Well, lots to say. So we've gone through all the history of the Nightfort now. We've got a lot of the little stories, the anecdotes, the ones that are just stories, perhaps the ones that maybe have some significant cultural history. Now, it is my belief that this gate, and it is indeed a tier, that this gate is sad that once again, children are having to go north to the White Walkers, to what it believes is their demise, because I believe that's what its creation is for. I do believe King Sherritt's curse comes down to nothing more than being the first one to sacrifice to the others, to give children to the others. And that's what the creation of the gate was, whether it was an inherent pact that initially was made with the Heart of Winter of like, yeah, you put up your stupid little magic wall, but you're giving us 15 infants every winter, every 7 years, every 6 years, because the seasons are a little out of whack. Like, and then this carried down. There are some Lord Commanders that said, fuck that noise, we're the watch. No. Then you get the insane ones that are doing it. The Night's King, who actually kind of, raised himself up to the status of king and ruled there. That's when it became too much, was when suddenly dudes started doing things that weren't kind of kosher for everyone, mating with one of these grown children. And so I absolutely believe the door is crying because the cycle is
I don't think that
beginning.
it was made for the sacrificing of the kids, because I technically still believe that the sacrificing of children began with the Night King.
Sure.
I feel like this door was here long before the Night King.
Sure. The wall itself. Old as the wall itself, it says. So it was built with the construction.
Was the Night's Watch was there at the inception of the wall itself? And so it has to, because it's based off the vows.
Right.
So
right, 1,000%.
That brings two questions. A, you have to imagine, because it's so magical, that not anybody can just walk up and say the Night's Watch vows.
Right. It understands that you've taken
the vow to be able to open it. It just doesn't make sense to me that then it would be used for such a evil purpose when the Night's Watch, like, to me it seems more
evil in what world, though? In our world.
Well,
in this world,
sacrificing children.
But in this world where people are giving children away for marriages at a very young age, it's a price to be paid. It's a nominal cost to keep the world safe and separate. It's 14 children every cycle. That's something I think a lot of people would be willing to pay in this world.
Sure.
Just to, like, and I do see it could be built into the initial, that's what the Night's Watch was here for, was to be the kind of
that'd be
safe
a big
deliverance.
Gotcha by Martin.
And it's that
they're the ones who
the Night's Watch were the intermediaries between the North and South.
I think it's more that this is a Bran the Builder, the three-eyed raven.
So a corruption of its original purpose?
Like, adding in this thing that it knows is going to be needed eventually down the line.
Sure.
And so it was put in,
through a Bran influence or a Blood Raven influence.
Just because it will be needed. Yeah. Because they knew that without it, Bran can't get up there to become the three-eyed raven.
Right.
And Sam can't get down to
so
give
is
the information.
The door, if you think it's crying, is it crying because Bran is here and going through it? Because it's Bran Stark?
Yeah, I mean, it could very much be, it was crying because Hodor. And it knows that Hodor and that Bran, none of this group is coming back through this alive. Maybe Meera comes down with Bran.
Or at least unchanged. I do think Bran
is
will be,
more what I meant.
Yeah.
Unchanged.
Well, we know Bran's supposed to be king.
Supposed to be, right. And so this is where the boy dies.
Sacrifice. This is the man, journey, right?
The man
kill the boy.
And so the boy is dying here, and it's that
for sure.
Innocence is finally lost here for Bran. Truly.
See, I just think the Nightfort's aura. That's what the kids are saying these days. The Nightfort's aura is just tragedy,
dark and tragic.
Trauma, and child sacrifice. Like the Prentice boys. Prentice boys are young. They're they're like tweens, 10, 11. 12-year-olds who are still kind of working up to being actual, apprentices, prentice boys. They don't even get the full fucking word. So, like, young people being hurt at this castle is kind of brave Danny Flint was young. Like, it's these
Right,
children
sure.
figures. These women, especially, are, married to the Night King, kind of taken in. When he gave her his seed, he gave her his soul. Like, young Danny Flint was raped and murdered here. Rape implies implicitly against her will. Like, people are hurt here, and so I just absolutely think it would be Martin horror-esque of like,
Sure. Actually,
this was the original.
Night's Watch, they were filthy from the get-go.
This was, and not filthy.
No, they were serving
it was
a purpose.
honorable.
It's a
it
purpose
hurt.
that's
No
hard
one
to
was
do.
like, and then you
It
get the
just-
Night's Kings who are like, ooh.
To me, that's
can-
very Hunger Games. It's always going to be a corrupt, like, fight back and lose everything.
To me, it
versus
just,
sacrificing.
fuck Hunger Games.
It is that
it
moral...
fits into the established world here of give us some of your children as security, as payment, as dowry, as what have you, and we keep the peace. Things stay the way they are. The status quo doesn't change. You stop delivering us kids. Thankfully, you got motherfucker. That's how you get people like Craster who are bootleg doing it, because somewhere it's the bleed through comes through that these things need to be satiated. If they don't, they're coming to kill and take everyone, not
right.
just
and so to me it's that's just kind of choosing one on the train conundrum there. There's one person on a family
right.
member
Do you pull the lever?
versus 5.
Yeah.
It's then it's just waiting for who's going to decide, no, we can't be doing that to Jon Snow. We need to fight it and end it permanently. No, you can't keep sacrificing these children over and over. You need to end this. Like, who would ever have thought that it's an okay thing to keep the balance? No, we go and end it, or they end us all, but like, that's what it needs to be. But who's
rallying that? Like,
I just
we don't have, like, people try and
I
it
feel
fails.
like that's a more likely rally than, we'll just keep this big secret and hand over the kids and not.
I for sure poke holes it, like, because I don't even know if I buy it, but what the fuck is this door? Because I do believe it is a werewood organism, whatever the fuck it is sentient to a degree.
Part of me thinks this is how werewoods all used to be.
What happens if you go deeper in this well? Like, they didn't go to the bottom.
You get the water.
Do you?
And the root
or
structure?
are there other pathways? Are there other doors?
Sure,
like,
who knows? Because this one, as far as we can tell, just leads to the other side of the wall.
It's as old as the wall itself, and like, it's still speaking, it's still following these commands. There's been no, degradation of its intended purpose of like,
right.
If it hears the order, and so far, like we said, it had to be Sam. Sam had to be the one saying the word, so it couldn't be Bran being like, "Oh, I found a cloak."
I think that's what that heavy tie is old as the wall itself. It's serving the same purpose as the wall.
100%.
It will only allow passage to Night's Watch. This is if you have to block all traces and you still need to get through, there will always be a way for the Night's Watch. There's always going,
sure.
And unless you're a Night's Watch, you ain't using it. So get the fuck out.
Right.
Go ahead and play in my well.
Which implies that at
Go
the
ahead all
wall's
way down.
inception, they weren't just using it to hide. They were using it to keep something out and to give themselves eyes on it, or a way to range it, or...
Because to me it was, I feel like the earlier folk were more open to the wildlings. It was never meant to keep the wildlings out. So they
agreed.
wanted to make
100%.
sure that they had, if somebody gets trapped up there, they can make their way through to open something over here. I don't know.
Yeah.
But yeah, I don't see evil intent in because I feel like that's the big thing. We get all these dark, terrible stories to make us believe that this is a dark, terrible Black Gate. Like, it's named the Black Gate. It's
named the Black Gate because the Black Brothers passed through. Like,
right.
Yeah.
And so it just feels like it's not this evil thing. It is used.
Well, that's what's like, of all these fucking stories, not one of them includes a sentient door.
Yeah.
So, like, I don't think the door is any part of the horror. And again, I don't see it as evil.
I just think it's really fun.
Evil act.
It's just going
to the creators.
It's Martin showing, magic is fucking real and here and active
hard,
and
yeah.
like it is actually present. Because
Right.
when that tree opens its fucking mouth and starts
It's
talking,
such a, and like the
What?
fold away
Holy
as the
shit.
way it opens,
Right, and
being its mouth going
Right.
wider and wider is such vivid, horrifying imagery.
Whereas everything else that we got in those little tales and stories are that they just feel like tales and
right,
stories.
it's grounded in reality.
Right,
of
there's
the imagination of a little kid. This
This can't be
isn't
explained
the
by-
imagination of a
right.
little kid. Like this just happened.
They're
Sam
walking
is
through
here.
that door.
Sam just passed through it twice.
Right.
Like, and so yeah, crossing of a threshold, implied, betrayal of the Night's Watch actually sacrificing children to keep the peace. Let us know what you think, of course, but it's one of the coolest chapter endings in the series.
Yeah,
Like, this is absolute concrete Martin saying, hey, if you didn't believe Melisandre's shadow baby, and maybe the leeches, if you're feeling froggy.
Sure.
And, the birth of dragons, Mirri Maz Dor included or excluded, what have you, people like Quaithe and Marwyn the Mage, well, now you actually get to see a werewood talk, speak, and then grant access once given a proper code. And so magic is thriving and aliving, and I'm fucking here for it.
Yeah. So let us know what you think. If you think differently, you can email us withoutmannersbrotherhood@gmail.com. Next episode is what? Danny
5.
Danny 5.
It's been a minute since we checked in with Danny. I don't want to speak offhand to what she was doing, so we'll recap it, of course, at the start of next. But I think this rates as one of my favorite chapters in A Song of Ice and Fire.
Sure.
Hands down.
It's sick. It's a sick one.
Having little wise man Jojen little grandfather walking around
Plot
with
armored
his
up.
plot
Like,
armor.
let's go in the scary dark.
And like the sage, sort of, but yet having all the info, all the history, all the story come from Bran, because of Bran's experience with old Nan is just such a fun way to do it. Like you said, having Sam present the Black Gate and what we learn about it as fact before he gets a chance to really research it, I just think is a lot of fun. Martin has made one hell of a horror garden here, similar to like Old Town, like where the story is right now.
Right, Valyria.
There's so much to pluck from this that I really do hope the Nightfort comes up in Winds or Dance again, and I kind of think signs point to it being pretty vital at a certain point in the story. So
Yeah, sure.
I love it. It was a great time. Let us know what you think, and otherwise we'll catch you for Danny 5.
Valor to Harris.